What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to your source for fantasy hockey news and degenerate gambling breakdowns, the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. It's a big-time waiver wire Monday edition. Let's get right into it.
Your Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, everybody? And welcome back to the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. We are here for Monday's edition. Thank you for making us your first listen. Every single day, we are here Monday through Friday for all of your fantasy needs. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is the official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. That's right. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Staal, the weekends are always something that you and I have to have an eye on in the fantasy realm. Lots goes on while we're away from the show for a few days, and we always got to come back on Monday. Yeah, we got to bring the waiver wire targets. We're going to get to big-time bets, of course, at the end of the show, like always. But sometimes we also got to keep our finger on the pulse for these injury updates.
Yeah.
And what's happening now in the crease. And I want to talk about two areas, actually, two teams. I haven't broken this down with you yet. Bit of a curveball, maybe. Here we go. I need to talk about the Ottawa Senators, obviously. Anton Forsberg, That's a nasty couple of two injuries. Does he tear both knees is what I'm reading?
Yeah.
This is dangerous stuff here. You're going to have to talk about this today. And Logan Thompson goes down. For the Vegas Golden Knights, this is an opportunity for Aiden Hill. I'm going to talk about that on my waiver wire ads. Staal, it's Super Bowl Sunday, baby. We're recording early. I'm fired up. What do you take away, though, from this Anton Forsberg situation? Because looking at the options in Ottawa, things are going from bad to worse for this Ottawa Senators team.
Yeah, and look, this is just the way their season has gone this year.
Mm-hmm.
You and I, we've come on this podcast so many times. We've talked up the Ottawa Senators. They look so promising for this year.
Yes.
Maybe not making the playoffs, but at least making a little bit of a push. Definitely something.
I thought they'd be in the playoffs, so this is just real
it was
tough.
definitely a close call for sure. But whether they were close enough or just squeaking into the wild card spot at the end of the season, and like looking at the playoffs right now, they're 10 points back. Like it's a big push that they would have to make, but that's just the way their season's gone this year. You know, they lose Josh Norris. They're able to get him back in January, late January, and then he ends up being done for the rest of the season, having to have surgery, which they were trying to make sure he wasn't going to do. Then Cam Talbot's injured as well at the beginning of the season, as well as a few weeks ago. Now Anton Forsberg. They just had so many injuries and so many problems that, with everything that they did right in the offseason, it has just crumbled in front of them. So this one season currently is a little bit of a write-off. I think they're pretty much just looking to get to the end of the season, get to the offseason, regroup, get healthy again, and look for the future and next year as well. But that's just me. It just, again, you can't really put blame on anyone. You can't put blame on anyone. You can't blame the coach. You can't blame the GM. I think they've done a fantastic job. They're also, the Ottawa Senators are also in the process of finding new owners. They're trying to sell the team as well.
Huge,
so there's a lot of news and a lot of things going on for the organization itself. But especially when some of your top tier players, as well as both your number one and number two goaltenders, go down to injury, you can't do much.
This just seems to be one of those seasons, Staal. And let's be honest, the Ottawa Senators started to pick it up over the last couple of weeks. Anton Forsberg looked decent in replacement of Cam Talbot. That's the other thing here. Cam Talbot is still week to week. These Ottawa Senators, and I hate not being able to pronounce players' names, last names for a number of reasons, but Kevin Mandalese, who's going to have to fit in here now from Belleville, moving up to the NHL. Staal, he's 4-7-2 in the AHL this year, and this is the goalie that the Ottawa Senators are going to be running out there this week. By the way, this week, the Ottawa Senators have 4 games. So by default, you got to go out there and slap Kevin Mandalese in there And you got a starting goaltender right now, Steele. Let's get to waiver wire in a second. But seriously, I feel for Ottawa Senators fans this year. And I don't usually say that for fan bases, but this also for me, the takeaway is really be wary of the value of some of these Ottawa Senators fantasy pieces down the stretch here. If this team starts to tailspin, those big time seasons that I was expecting from Timmy Stützle, they might not get their Steal, because if this team's down 4 or 5 or 6 goals every night because they have AHL goaltenders in there, things might continue to get uglier and uglier. But not on the ugly side. I need to know, waiver wire, things are getting clutch here. Who are you looking at? I got 3 players that I think you're really going to like, and I think you're really going to like my bets as well. But hit me with your waiver wire targets. What's your first guy you're looking at?
Yeah, I've got 4 players on the list, 3 guys who I've never talked about before,
Okay.
2 of them who I never thought I would actually ever mention for waiver wire targets. But
I like
to start it off, I'm looking at the Carolina Hurricanes and Jesper Kotkaniemi. This is a guy that I have been a little bit hard on over the last
for
year,
good reason, though.
Good reason. Yeah, I think the contract itself, for how long it is, how much it's worth. Overpaid him. Again, he's a young player, but there's just something missing from his game. I think it's a confidence level that just really hasn't gotten there in the NHL. But nonetheless, he's available in all leagues right now. He's under 5% rostered in both ESPN and Yahoo fantasy leagues. I didn't think I would ever mention him for waiver wire targets, but he has a point streak going right now. He's got 4 points in his last 3 games, 5 in his last 5 games. And I think a lot of that has to do with the Pacioretty injury that happened. He jumped from the 4th line all the way to the 2nd line, playing with Andrei Svechnikov and Martin Necas right now. He's on the 2nd power play. He's on the 2nd PK as well. He's getting a little bit more ice time than he usually gets. So I think the confidence is coming a little bit more than what we've seen, but he's getting more opportunity. He's in the top 6 forward group, and he's got a point streak going right now. And the Hurricanes, obviously, we know, are one of the best teams in the league. They play the Capitals twice this week, as well as the Montreal Canadiens. So I think it's a great week to maybe see what Kotkaniemi can do. But yeah, I think the point streak, grab him while he's hot right now.
Also, just the opportunity to play with those 2 players right there.
Exactly.
For me, definitely worth filling a hole. We're not saying go out there and drop someone for Kotkaniemi. You need a good fill-in. I don't think that's what you're saying, Steele. Anyway, not trying to put words in your mouth. But I think it's obvious that this is just a really good fill-in spot, especially if he continues to get looks with those 2 players, as you mentioned. Last week, I came on the show and said, before he gets hot, before he gets a really good opportunity in Vancouver, go get Anthony Beauvillier. And I think you were a little bit on the fence for good reason. He's been disappointing for 3 seasons straight. And yes, it's only 2 games with a point. I understand. But the game that he had last time out, Steele, against Detroit, 1 goal, 1 assist, over 16 minutes in ice time. He's starting to get a real look. And when you take a look at who he's playing with Pettersson and Besser, I don't know what's going to happen with the Canucks down the stretch. And this might be a volatile situation to deal with. So Beauvillier, to me, is a week-to-week streamer. But right now, again, 3 games this week for the Canucks. For me, when he's getting rushes on that top line, it makes so much sense. He's out there in many formats. You need an offensive fill-in on the wing. Beauvillier, again, this week, in my opinion, definitely worth a look.
Yeah, you definitely got it there, and I got to eat my crow right now because I was completely wrong on that. Look at us right now, though. Look at us. My prediction of Bo Horvat, he's got 4 points in 3 games. Your prediction on Beauvillier, he's doing well with the Vancouver Canucks.
That's why you tune in, tap in, and subscribe to the channel, baby.
That's why we do what we do, baby. Trying to get those waiver wire targets ready to start the week for all of you guys out there. I'm going to talk about someone who I've talked a bit about on waiver wire targets as well as for other purposes. But Nick Schmaltz, I think, is getting underloved and undervalued right now. 20% owned on Yahoo, 40% on ESPN. He just recorded his 2nd 4-point night in the last 5 games. He is feeling it right now. The chemistry with him and with Clayton Keller and himself is undeniable. He has 10 points in his last 5 games, 34 points in 37 games on the season. He's almost at a point per game right now. He might be playing for a bad team, but the players are not bad on the Arizona Coyotes. The chemistry's going. They got talent up and down the lineup. I know that the Coyotes are holding Chychrun out maybe the next couple of games as well as the last game because of trade-related reasons. Nonetheless, Coyotes have some talent on their team. Still might be at the bottom of the league, but they've got some talent. They've got 4 games this upcoming week, taking on the Nashville Predators, Tampa Bay Lightning, LA Kings, and the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Love it. And sometimes, Steele, at these points of the season, you got to get gritty. You're going to have to get a little dirty. You're going to have to dig down into that bargain bin and get some players in your roster that are getting you points. Because if you're in the mix right now for the top few spots, you either kind of, poop or get off the pot, if you're with me. That's a little bit of a bold take in terms of the language. What's not a bold take is our next sponsor, AG1 from Athletic Greens. Today's episode is brought to you by Athletic Greens. And this is a product that Steele and I have been benefited enough to use before and after the gym, in the morning in a smoothie. It's delicious, it's nutritious, and we started using it because it's lifestyle friendly. Whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or even gluten-free, it's good for your diet. It contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs. AG1, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything. It supports your gut health. It helps you sleep better. It helps you age with grace. It helps you focus at work. I don't know what else you need to hear. Go get yourself some AG1 from Athletic Greens right now. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 5-star reviews, and it's recommended by professional athletes around the world. Right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. In just 1 scoop of water every day, that's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. Steele and I like that as well. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you 1 free year of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you got to do is head over to athleticgreens.com/NHL Network. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/NHL Network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Don't forget, we are free and available on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. So hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button, Flip, and I appreciate all the love, all the support our listeners show us every single day. Thank you so much for all that kindness. Let's get back into the waiver wire targets. We are going to get to big time bets at the end of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
But this is a guy that I didn't think that I would ever mention for waiver wire targets.
Another one.
Again, another player.
I like this though, Steele. I like this different angle from you today.
Looking from the different angles here, and I'm looking at Eric Staal of the Florida Panthers. Just again, This is a little bit of a bold take right now, but
let me hear it.
Obviously, he is going to be available in every single league, and I'm not saying go drop an important player just to pick him up. Again, if you have a hole to fill, if you have an injured player and you have an extra spot on your bench, take a shot on a couple of these guys. But Eric Staal has 5 points in his last 5 games, 2 shorthanded goals against the San Jose Sharks the other night as well. He's a little bit of a threat on the penalty kill. And the Florida Panthers also have 4 games this upcoming week: Minnesota Wild, St. Louis Blues, Washington Capitals, and Nashville Predators. I think there are times when Eric Staal can jump up, and he's more of a 4th-line player now, obviously.
For sure.
But there are times where he is able to jump up to the 3rd or 2nd line that I've seen Paul Maurice do a few times this year, trying to switch things up. But look, the Florida Panthers are thriving right now.
Yep.
Literally at the time where I said do not trust Sergei Bobrovsky or Spencer
He's gone
Knight,
off.
They've gone off. Spencer Knight was injured for a little bit. Bobrovsky was injured for a little bit. But nonetheless, they've gone off. I believe their goalie is Alex Lyon now, or it was at the time.
Yeah, he's been getting some.
He's been good. He's been getting a couple starts. He's been good. Florida Panthers are looking great. Matthew Tkachuk, Carter Verhaeghe, all those guys are buzzing right now.
Yep.
Eric Staal, if you need a guy, take a chance. Take a chance.
Hey, we mentioned getting gritty. We mentioned getting dirty. This is a prototypical move at the bargain bin. But I'll say this about Eric Staal. The fact that he is still getting it done at his age and this second kick at the can in the NHL tells me this. His hands and his hockey IQ are still elite. He's been an elite player in the NHL all around for a while, and now the body's going on him a little bit, but the hands are still money, and his hockey IQ is through the roof, and he just knows how to get it done, Steele. Yeah. So I don't hate you highlighting this guy. Hey, if you're going to take a risk, why not go on a guy who's almost, pushing 15-plus years in the NHL, getting it done every single season?
Yes, sir.
Almost at the opposite end of careers and spectrum, Alexis Lafreniere. And there's a lot of positive things going on in New York right now. And the reason why I wanted to talk about a single New York Ranger, because I also looked at Capo Caco. Both guys are on 4-game point streaks. Both guys playing on alongside Philip Hedl on a really good third line. And now both guys getting looks with Vladimir Tarasenko on the second power play unit in New York. This is a team that both you and I, obviously, not a bold take, once they got Tarasenko last week, we expected them to start to make some noise. And they're starting to make some noise already very quickly. And I want a piece of it, Steele. And that would be my takeaway. Go out there and get you a Vincent Trocheck if you can. Go out there and add Philip Hedl. Go out there and get Lafreniere or Kako. But Lafreniere was the one I was looking at as my pick coming on today, as the one you should go out for this week. The Rangers have 3 games. And honestly, Steele, Lafreniere, disappointing, yes, for sure. Has to be better. And a first overall draft pick, he's not living up to the hype, not even close. But he brings fantasy value. And I want to give you credit because you've brought that up before. His hits, he's there. He's got 101 hits this year. He's going to break his pace for 108 last year. He gets shots. And like I mentioned, over his last 4 games, he's putting up points as well. 2 goals, 2 assists. Jump on it now, Steele. There's just so much good stuff going on in New York that I want a piece of it. Before you get passed over by some GMs who are going to go out there and do exactly what I'm saying. And very quickly, if you don't mind, I'll finish with my last guy. Logan Thompson is out week to week for the Vegas Golden Knights. I don't really love what's going on in Vegas overall, and this is just another blow to their overall success. But backup Adin Hill deserves some love, and I know you love giving credit to that Arizona Coyotes franchise. Adin Hill has been a goaltender on the Arizona Coyotes and the San Jose Sharks for his entire career, and he still has a .910 career save percentage. This guy can stop pucks, and he's going to get a shot right now in Vegas. Adin Hill, go out and add him for a goalie, Phil, because he'll be getting the majority of the starts over the next few weeks with Logan Thompson out. What do you think about that one, pal?
Yeah, I like it, and I don't think it's as bad for the Vegas Golden Knights. Obviously, you're without.
I'm being pretty harsh on that.
No, rightfully so though, because obviously there was always that question mark with the goaltenders at the beginning of the season. We know what Logan Thompson was able to do. I don't think it's going to be as bad, just
and
because
they're still in first, right?
Like,
I'm being a little critical.
The blue line is still strong as an ox.
It's true.
Hopefully Jack Eichel can be that superstar guy that can just take over in the absence of Mark Stone.
Right.
And, you still got those peripheral guys like
Riley Smith,
William Karlsson, all those guys.
Yep.
Chandler Stevenson as well. But,
good season.
Might be losing some more games than usual, but I think they're going to be A-okay with Adin Hill in the crease. My last guy before we get to big time bets. Someone mentioned this. They left a comment on the YouTube channel last week. Okay. They're like, hey, what do you think about Raphael Harvey-Pinard of the Montreal Canadiens?
Yes, rookie, yeah.
He has been pretty solid since being called up to the Montreal Canadiens. He's obviously available in pretty much all leagues out there. I think he's only rostered at 5 or 6%. He has 5 goals, 7 points in his first 8 games in the National Hockey League. And he went from centering the 4th line to now playing left wing on the top line with Nick Suzuki and Josh Anderson.
Huge.
And even without the points that he's getting, he's got the peripheral stats buzzing as well. He's got 16 shots, 11 blocks, and 26 hits in 8 games, along with the 7 points he already has. So he's kind of on fire right now, and he's getting it done. He's getting that opportunity on the top line with Suzuki and Josh Anderson as well. We know the Montreal Canadiens struggle to score goals quite a bit. We know that it's been a very bad year for them as well. But, hey, he's buzzing right now for the Canadiens. And why not, again, take a chance if you got an opportunity and an open slot on your bench. Pick him up. Give him a chance. 3 games this upcoming week for the Montreal Canadiens, Chicago Blackhawks, Carolina Hurricanes, and the Toronto Maple Leafs. And 2 of the 3 matchups are very advantageous in my opinion. Yep. Obviously not the one with the Hurricanes, but nonetheless, those are my 4 guys for the waiver wire targets.
And I like them all. I think actually our targets this week are very balanced. Lots of options out there. And obviously I didn't really break it down, but that Ottawa situation is getting messy. But there's going to be goaltenders that you can grab. And if you've already seen the news with Anton Forsberg, 2 MCL injuries, man, that's harsh. You never want to see that. But there's an opportunity here for some of these AHL goaltenders. Will they put up good numbers? I don't know, but they might get you some wins at the very least. So you've got to be paying attention at this portion of the season. I'll say it and I'll say it again. But I'll say this again, Steele. Let's keep it rolling with the bets. Last week was a big week for both of us, and I'm ready for another big week on tap.
Yeah, me as well, my friend. I ended the week 3 for 3 on Friday. I'm
Bang.
hoping to start again Monday
Bang.
as well. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. This year, the only app that you need for your Super Bowl party is FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And if you're new to FanDuel, that's fantastic. They have so many great features that make sports betting fun and easy to do. Download FanDuel now so you can bet on Super Bowl 57 with a no sweat first bet, and you'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. FanDuel lets you bet on everything from the money line, point spread, who will score a touchdown. I've got my money placed on the Eagles. We're recording this a little bit early, so I've got my money placed on the Eagles. I know Flip is looking over to the Chiefs and Patty Mahomes to get it done once again. But the FanDuel Sportsbook app is safe, secure, and super easy to use. So far, again, my favorite perk about FanDuel is right when I open the app, I'm able to see the popular same game parlays that hundreds of people are placing their money on, placing their bets on. So that's my favorite perk. So join FanDuel today and at FanDuel.com/locked-on to claim your no sweat first bet on Super Bowl 57. That's FanDuel.com/locked-on. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Don't forget, we are free and available on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. And thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode with Flip and I. Flip, I'll throw it over to you. 4 or 5 games on the schedule for Monday.
We got
5 games on the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to lie. I didn't like really a lot of these matchups. I don't know. Just wasn't really feeling it for Monday's board. However, I still do have 3 picks. I'll throw it over to you first. Who are you looking at for your first pick of the night?
First pick that I was looking at, and again, thank you for actually teeing that up very nicely, Steele, because it's a tricky board, and honestly, it's a nasty one. There's a lot of bad teams playing bad teams tonight, and
it's
so-so
just
teams playing so-so teams like Flame Sens, okay. Nashville, Arizona, okay. Florida, like Detroit, Vancouver, yeesh. So that is, especially right after the Super Bowl, we're going to ease up off the bets tonight. That's my number 1 tip. Number 2, I'm going to try and hit some advantageous situations. The Ottawa Senators are, this is just another huge blow to them. And I don't know who's even going to be in the cage. I'm mentioning this Mandalisi guy from the AHL, and that's no disrespect to him, but he's got 8 starts, 10 starts, 11 starts this year in the AHL and hasn't played great. I'm taking the Calgary Flames based on that fact alone. The head-to-head, Calgary has lost 6 of their last 10 against Ottawa. They've played pretty good, the Sens, against Calgary overall. Last 10, I don't know, Steele. I got to go against the Sens. That's just a huge blow. And the goaltending right there, Calgary needs wins in a bad, bad way. Give me the Flames on the money line -145. That's my first pick of the night.
That's also my first pick of the night. I think it's the easy choice. Not anything against the Ottawa Senators, but there's too many injured bodies right now. I don't think the morale's at the highest point.
That's
of the
just
season.
it.
Flames are also coming off a big 7-2 win against the Buffalo Sabres as well over the weekend.
Point.
My first pick also Flames on the money line against the Ottawa Senators. My second pick,
hit me.
I am taking the Predators on the money line against the Coyotes. I was thinking puck line, but playing it safe a little bit. I still see a lot of talent and upside to the forward group with the Coyotes. So I'm going to take the Predators on the money line just to play a little bit more safe.
Arizona 0-10 in their last 10 games on the road. You're going to have to lay some juice here with this Nashville team, but this is, I think, an ideal addition to a parlay steal for me. I'm staying away from this game. I think Arizona could actually keep it close. No, am I not bold enough to bet on it? I'm not going to go there. So I'm just going to stay away. How about that? I think we can both agree on that one for me. My second pick, Adrian Kempe is a player that, thank you, I have mentioned a lot of times. I'm not going to talk about betting on Adrian Kempe after a 4-goal game, but the LA Kings put up a lot of goals, and I like this LA Kings team. And on the other side of things, you have the Buffalo Sabres, who actually have good numbers on the road this season, 12-4, and have wins 5 of their last 7 against LA. I was going to stay away from this, but the Buffalo Sabres have looked downright terrible over their last 3 games, and they're starting to really struggle. And I like this spot for the LA Kings at home just based on the recency trends alone. Kings are looking much better. Sabres are struggling, and they're struggling to score goals. Give me the LA Kings on the money line, -161, a good home team as well, Steele. This is a tough road trip for the Buffalo Sabres. Let's not forget that. Love this spot for the LA Kings. I was also leaning the over, but my second pick is the Kings on the money line.
Yeah, if I were to bet on this game, I think it would be the over alone. Like you said, LA Kings actually both the LA Kings and Buffalo Sabres seem to just score goals at will.
Yes.
2 of the top teams in goals for this year, I believe. Obviously, the Buffalo Sabres, but yeah, I think that would be the safe bet for me, taking the over in this game. My lock of the night, my last pick. This one is a little bit of a coin flip. I'm actually changing my mind right on the spot here. I'm changing my mind. This is just a gut feeling pick at this point.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Wild on the money line against the Panthers. Originally, I did the Panthers on the money line. But I don't know what it is. Panthers are playing good hockey. Wild they won their last game, but they have been pretty bad since the NHL All-Star break. I don't know what it is. It's just a gut feeling. Go with my gut here. Wild on the money line. I'm not trying to be biased or anything, but Wild on the money line just kind of screams that it's going to hit to me right now. I'm going to take Wild on the money line for my lock of the night.
It was the one win that you mentioned, but it was a big one against the New Jersey Devils. A well-fought 3-2 victory. Maybe that's a little turning point here for the Minnesota Wild. You're breaking it down nicely, and sometimes you just got to go with your gut. And I think that even more so, Steele, that you are flip-flopping on this game a little bit, goes to show what we said off the top. Dial the bet back tonight. It's not a great board. You and I don't come on here a lot of times, and we're not hyped up about at least 2 or 3 of our bets. So that's, I think, the main takeaway right there. And I'm with this game as well, Steele, for my lock of the night. But I got to go to the total, baby. That's what's been making me money all year long. And this Florida team is an over cash cow. And the head-to-head between Florida and Minnesota, Steele, 8 of the last 9 over the number.
Yeah.
Give me over 6.5. This feels like a really good spot for another high-scoring game. I'm saying 4-3 Wild. Give me that over, lock of the night.
Absolutely love it. Making my pick a little bit more confident right now. I'm going to have to take the over in this game as well. I'm going to have to spice that in there in the parlay, make it a little bit spicier. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. We are available Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern time on your favorite podcast platforms and on YouTube. So hit the subscribe, hit the follow button. And thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode with Flip and I. Have a great day. Good luck with all your bets out there. And we shall see you back here again tomorrow.
Peace.